something crosses the road. It's skeletal like, fleshy, and it stands up, and then it like kind of just almost like leaps.
They look back and they see one. Clear as day. It walked 5 feet away from my audio recorder. We just saw a Bigfoot. Holy crap.
I've been pinched, I've been tapped on the shoulder, I've had my name hollered, a hand came up underneath my left arm. I said, little son of a bitch tried to get me. That was the time that I decided you don't sleep inside that building.
Did you see that?
The cowcur, it's big, it's white, and it runs faster than any man could ever run. And he would lean out behind the tree. And that's why we never go out, because the booger will get you.
Welcome to another episode of Exploring the Unknown. I'm Luke.
I'm Dustin.
And today we have Jacob on the podcast, and he's going to talk about some of his paranormal experiences and encounters that he had throughout his life.
Yeah. What's going on, Jacob? How you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing well. Yeah, thanks again for coming on the pod.
For having us talking about this stuff.
Yeah, we do too. So we actually got to talk to you on TikTok. You think you were in one of our lives, right?
Yeah, that's how I found you guys.
Yeah. So, how did you get into the paranormal? Like, what kind of started your journey?
I think I think if you're just open to sort of thing, you're going to experience more of it than if you have a firm like I don't believe in that, then it's not going to really appear to you. And I've always been open to. I've always been very creative and very curious, adventurous since I was a little kid. My earliest memory, I was running around the woods and finding, you're making up these stories about these places you find how it was like a satanic cult and stuff. Just trying to scare. But it's open to believing that there's stuff out there that we don't know. But who am I to say there's nothing there? Who am I to say that it's not real? Or I think people say that when they're scared of it. Mm-hmm. When they don't want to accept it, or they don't want to possibility because it's too heavy. But I started noticing weird stuff really as I became an adult. And it's when I was younger, a lot of it was like me and my friends like trying to make ourselves see stuff, I think. But when I started actually experiencing real things, it's funny because it didn't really freak me out as much as you'd think it would. It was there were things that just I froze when I saw. I was in disbelief, but I wasn't terrified or anything. It was more it wasn't really scary. It's just unbelievable. The one thing I think what caught your attention, you guys were talking about how freaky it would be if you were driving. I think if you looked in your mirror and you saw a ghost in your backseat, something along those lines, right?
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't that it? Yeah, and mm-hmm. I had that. When I was in high school, I went to high school with who was kind of a friend, not a close friend, but a cool guy, a really nice guy. He lived down the street from me, and 2 days before Christmas, he was at a Christmas party, and he forgot his gifts. He went back to get the gifts, and he was driving kind of fast. There was some ice on the road, and he slid 3 houses down from his house and hit a tree and died. And that street was over from where I lived. So fast forward a few years later, after I graduated, and at that time that's when I was learning to play guitar a lot, and I'd stay up all night working on scales and things, and my thing was, I'd take a break, like 3 a.m. I'd drive down the country roads for a joint. And this particular night, I went down the road where he died, and I looked in the mirror and I saw him in the back seat. Just kind of sitting. I didn't say it was him. I didn't say anything. It was just a real. That one did freak me out because that was really my first experience with something like. And it wasn't. The week wasn't that good. It wasn't. And then it was gone. He was there for a few seconds. Gone. I'm like, go home. And I went right home after that. It just, the whole rest of the night and then the next day, I was just kind of in disbelief about the whole thing. And it would turn out that would probably be the most minor of the that I've had. The house that I lived in that I just sold last year. The woman that lived there before, everywhere I lived, somebody died. The woman that lived there before, the original owner, she raised a family. She lived up into her late 80s. She was wheelchair bound. This house was built in 1950, and it had a gravity furnace. You know what a gravity furnace is?
No.
It works on the premise that heat rises. So it's an iron grate. Heat element in the floor under the house gets hot, and the heat rises up through this iron grate, and that's how it heats your house. It's not like it's not central air or anything where you have duct work and all that. You just have a big hole in your floor with an iron grate, and heat rises up through it. But the iron grate gets hot as shit. And she was wheelchair bound, and you probably know where this is going. You have to go over that iron grate to get to the bathroom. Her wheelchair got caught, and she fell in that grate in January. In Ohio, it gets cold. She roasted on that grate for about 24 hours.
Oh my God.
And it was bad enough that they had to replace the grate before they could show the house.
Oh wow.
So she cooked on it pretty bad, and I did, without a doubt, that house was haunted. I've had a few friends who, went through a divorce or something. Actually, went through a divorce and needed a place to stay for a few weeks, and they experienced a lot of the same things I did. Everybody who had ever spent any real time in that place will testify that it's definitely haunted. I have videos. I have one actually on my TikTok of the back door, the door handle turning by itself.
I think you sent that to us.
Yeah. You can kind of hear something scratch the back door, and I open it. There's nothing there.
You said it's on your TikTok page?
Yeah.
I'm gonna see if I can pull it up. You want me to just let me know if you need me to shut up.
No, you're good.
No worries. You're good.
I have another video that I need to post of my dog hanging out with me here. A few years back, she was mauled by another dog, and she had to have a few surgeries, and she was she had the cone of shame and everything, and she was walking around the back. I had to go everywhere with her because she'd get stuck with that cone on her head, poor thing. And there's this chair I had in the backyard. I had some furniture out there, and again, it's just dead of winter. And she walks up to this chair and just sits in front of it and stares at this chair as if there's somebody in the chair. And she stays there for about 20 minutes, and I video it because it's so freaky. I mean, it was weird. That was really. She just was fixated on this chair. I mean, she wasn't growling, wasn't barking. It was almost like she was somehow communicating with something that was in this chair, but it wasn't like, it wasn't like a bad thing.
Yeah.
but she was just fixated on it. And I think finally I ended up pulling her away, but she sat there for a good 20 minutes. And I do have a video of that somewhere I'll need to find. Yeah, it was weird, but lots of things happened in that house. One time, this one really got me. I have a recording studio in the house, and I had kind of a lab where, my college used to grow mushrooms, and I was working in a lab, and I hear the record player come on, and the record player came on by itself. Now, I could explain away a TV coming on. I could explain away, but a record player, there's multiple steps. You have to lift the arm. You have to put the arm onto the vinyl. It's not like something like an electric surge is going to cause it to come on. It's more complicated than that. But the record player, I don't record that I either. But that was one where I actually stood frozen for about, first I thought it was the Alexa. I'm like, oh, I must have left the Alexa on. Well, I did. The Alexa was playing too. The Alexa was on. Also, the record player was on. And I probably stood there for 5 minutes like, this can't be real. But, if it was the old lady, she had good taste because it was a good Willie Nelson record. Yeah, I do. Absolutely. Her, and I think she had a good sense of humor. And it was never really a scary thing other than it was just real. She might have messed with me at times. There's a knee wall up in the loft. My recording studio is up in the loft, and there's a knee wall. So these little doors to access the knee wall that are only maybe 2 feet high, and I got to turn my car. My battery's dying. And these doors, one in particular, they would open all by themselves, and it wasn't due to a draft or anything. I had figured that out, and I wasn't the only one that had seen it either, because one of my friends stayed up in that loft, and he'd experienced it too. And it's just one in particular, and one time I was standing right next to it, like a foot away, and the thing just opened all the way up. And man, that was freaky. Another time I was in my lab, and my friend who was staying with me he was a chef, so he'd get home late, and never at the same time. Whenever they closed and got done cleaning everything. And I heard him come home. I heard the back door open. I heard his, he's wearing big boots. He was working in the kitchen. I hear him go up the stairs. And I said, oh, Will's back. And I even hear him come back down and go outside to smoke a cigarette. And then 20, 30 minutes passes, and I hear Will come home again. Back door opens. Go upstairs. Go back down, smoke a cigarette, come back in, go. I'm like, that's weird. If I'm still doing my thing, like 20 minutes later, Will comes home from work again. And his back door opens, back down. And at this point, I get up, and I'm looking. And he's not there. There's nobody there. It's just me. But I'd be the plain as day. I heard the door open. I heard someone walk. You know what things sound like in your house, especially when you live alone. Every sound. I heard somebody walk up the stairs, but there was nobody there. And then finally he did come home, and I told him about what happened. He's like, that's insane. I'm like, yeah. I'm like, you came home like 4 times. That was a real, yeah, that was a real way. There were, when I first moved into that place, I had a recurring dream, and it was very, very vivid. I would hear the back door open, and I would hear the back door open into the kitchen. I would hear somebody come into the kitchen. I hear him walk through the kitchen, and then into the hallway, and then my bedroom was down at the end of the hallway, and I'd hear him walk towards my bedroom, and I always had my door shut, so I hear him walk all the way up to the door and then stop. And I had 2 dogs, 2 pit bull rescues. And this dream happened every night, and the only way I was able to determine that it was in fact a dream and not something that was actually happening was I realized, well, my dogs would be barking.
Uh-huh.
That was really happening, barking. So once I put that all together, I was able to kind of control it. And it didn't freak me out. I had power over it at that point.
Yeah.
So I taken it seriously, but for about a week, it really got me. That was the first thing that happened. There were just all kinds of. Oh, I think that old lady saved my ass one time because I was using my pressure cooker, and I forgot that it was running. So I forgot to turn. I don't know how experienced you are with pressure cookers, but you never want to run one dry.
Yeah.
Because they can explode, or you can ruin your pressure cooker. And the one I was using was like a nice $600 pressure cooker. And I completely had forgotten that I had it running. I was upstairs recording or something, and then I remember like, oh shit! And I run downstairs. I'm like, there's no way it's gonna be dry. It's like I got it. And I come down and it had been turned off.
Oh wow.
It had been
That's
turned
wild.
off. Yeah.
Back to the story.
She helped me out.
Back to the story about you thinking your friend came home or your roommate. Dustin actually had that experience a couple weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
I've had it happen a couple of times where I had heard my wife and kids come home, and then I go out there and there's nobody here. And we've actually talked about it before. There's some kind of spirit or entity or something that mimics like your routine before you come home.
Yeah.
That's I thought of it being like a mimic type thing. That's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder what's really being.
Yeah. What do you think caused this?
It's very real when it happens. It's very real.
Yeah. Now you were saying before we got on the pod,
you hear about a lot of things in like Appalachia, and I'm not. I mean, it comes through Ohio a little bit, but not where I am. But maybe stuff has it's more expansive than people realize.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Now, earlier you were talking about the property you live on now, and how there was a gentleman, a farmer. He was on a tractor and it had rolled over. You were saying a little bit about how the property you're on now is haunted. You tell us a little bit more about that?
Sure. Yeah. I'm sure that it is. I haven't had a chance to really do much exploring around here yet, but the guy that shows it, I'm on 23 acres, and it's almost entirely wooded. At the top of the hill, there's 2 big pole barns and the main house. And the guy that lived here before he's actually a home inspector, and he was out doing something a little too close to the side of the hill, because there's some areas where it goes down pretty steep into a ravine.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe he was on a tractor and it rolled over on him. And he was pinned down for a while before anybody found him, but he did die. And he had a few kids here, and they were, one of them refused to leave. They had to come evict him, but there's just a lot of weird things in the woods out here, and I don't know if it has anything to do with him. I can't say his spirits out here, but these woods are. Yeah, I spent a lot of time in the woods. I spent a lot of time in Appalachia. A whole lot of time in West Virginia. I've been all over those mountains, and I know I know when woods are just woods, and I know when woods are a little bit more than woods.
Hmm.
And woods out here are a little bit more than woods.
Yeah.
I get a weird feeling because I hang out at one of the barns that's kind of half in the woods and the other half is out in the clearing. And I've had friends over. They don't like walking close to those woods at night. They don't even like walking next to them. And I get it too. But sometimes, when I have to walk one of the exits to get out of the barn back out into the clearing, you have to walk kind of right next to the woods. I walk a little more briskly when I go through that. It's
I don't blame you.
I things like just behind growth in the woods, but kind of match pace with me. Kind of watching me. I think easily could be animals. There's a lot of animals out here, but I know what animals sound like. And so you were asking about Bigfoot. So it would surprise me at all. I was talking to one of my silly friends. I was like, man, I think there might be Sam Squatches out here. And he was like, yeah, they probably want to use you in their mating ritual. I'm like, what? I don't want to know what that is. Don't things like that. I was like, is there gonna be a wet spot? He's like, you do your job right.
Oh no.
But
I heard that the Sam Squatch. What does that mean? Like that's the first time I've heard that. Well, not the first time, but I heard it like yesterday. But I don't know. I've never heard Sam Squatch before. What is that different from Sasquatch?
Have you ever seen the Trailer Park? Have you ever?
Yeah.
Have you ever seen Trailer Park Boys? That show?
Yeah. I didn't watch it all the way through, but I'm familiar.
Okay, well, Ricky that's the word he uses, Sam Squatch, or no, maybe it's Bubbles. They call it a Sam Squatch. So
okay.
it really is all it is, but it's funny. Yeah, that's all that is.
Oh, okay.
Because I've pronouncing.
We've heard all kinds of names for Sasquatch. Wood booger. What else, Luke? What was the first one?
Cowker.
And down in Kentucky,
Woodburger.
Yeah. Wood booger. Boogers, that is also what they refer to. I don't want to go so far as to call them feral, but the people who live out in the mountains.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes they refer to them as boogers.
Mm.
Yeah. You ever talk about those people, the feral people out in the mountains?
Yeah, kind of.
The story is that they went out. They didn't want to have anything to do with the government of the Civil War, so they took their family on way out in the mountains. They've been out there this whole time, so they have like their own language and bread.
Isn't there a family in West Virginia that is kind of like that? Like it's a pretty popular family.
Yeah, it's from I think the Soft White Underbelly is what the show is called. The documentary. A guy went out and interviewed him.
Mm-hmm.
The guy was still very interested because the one guy he barks. He communicates like a dog. He barks. He doesn't use words. He just barks.
Mm-hmm.
Strange.
That is strange.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think it's like there's three brothers and they're like in a romantic relationship with each other. And the neighbors are kind of like protective of them because they don't want people coming out and that's cool. But they're not violent. They're not mean. They're nice.
Mm-hmm.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder what else is out in those mountains. I mean, there have people do go missing. One of the famous cases was like an 8-year-old boy back in the 60s that went out camping with his family. I mean, it's easy to find that on Google. I can't remember what his name was, but that was somewhere, I think, along the Appalachian Trail. And he went missing like in a matter of minutes. You know, the other kids that were there, I think it was for a birthday party, and all the kids went and hid. They're going to like come out and scare their dad or something. And this one kid went and hid somewhere a little too far. And just within a matter of minutes, he was gone. And they had huge search parties for him. We never did find him. I think that was in like 62 or 63.
Maybe Sasquatch
So,
took
I
him.
mean, maybe a lot of people think that people that live out there in the mountains got him.
Oh, that's possible too.
But, people do believe that somebody took him. I mean, that's pretty, I think, accepted that he was abducted. He didn't just get lost. But who knows? There's all kinds of holes and stuff back there. There's caverns you can fall into. There's all kinds of stuff out in those mountains.
Yeah. What would you say is the wildest experience that you've had? Like, what would be like the number one ranking thing?
Oh. It would probably be something at the house. It might have even been that record player, because that was, I mean, there was no explaining that away. That was some paranormal, something weird. That was definitely something. I can't pretend like, oh, I'm just tripping myself. No, that was something going on.
Yeah.
That might have been it, because I remember, but I was frozen for a good 5 minutes just staring at that damn record player like, what the hell?
That's crazy.
That maybe a close second would have been when my buddy Will came home 5 times.
Yeah, that one would that would freak me out too. Yeah, I know. Because I heard giggling that day. Whenever I thought Renee came home, I heard the kids. I heard my 2-year-old giggling out in the living room. But when I walked out there, I was just me.
Yeah, I've had that too. I've heard voices. I've heard conversations. Yeah, I hear that out here where I am now too a lot. Like I'll hear people talking in the woods. And they're not supposed to be anybody out there.
Can you understand what they're saying?
No, I can just barely hear it. And it's definitely like a conversation between like 2 people. I hear that a lot.
Yeah.
I've never been afraid to go out in the woods at night, but I have never walked out in these woods at night.
Yeah.
By myself.
Have you ever heard the samurai chatter, like the Sasquatch recordings?
Here,
I'm gonna pull it up and play it for you, and because I'm curious if it's similar to what you were hearing in the woods, because a lot of those things are they kind of go along with Bigfoot, like voices and chattering in the woods and stuff like that.
Interesting.
Give me a second here. Luke, is that it's the Sierra sounds, right?
Yeah.
Okay, let me see. I gotta share my screen. Can you guys see the screen or no?
Yeah. I think.
Okay. This guy, he's closer to the microphone. You'll be able to distinctively tell like what's what, but he's like interacting with these things in the woods. But here it is. Can you hear the chattering in the background?
Yeah. That's wild.
It gets even weirder.
That's right, we want to protect someone for
It's very strange. Is that similar to what maybe you had heard?
No, this was more like if two people were like about to walk up on you and they're having a conversation, you know, like you're just waiting for a few people to like pop out of the woods. That's what this was like. Like that would freak me out if I heard that. This is more like, oh, here comes somebody, you know, and then nobody ever comes out. That's really interesting. So how was he interacting with them? What was he what was he doing to communicate? Did you say he was interacting with them somehow?
I'm not sure if he was interacting, but he was listening. I think
Okay,
that's
so
his first.
he was documenting what was going on. Okay, that's wild. That's really interesting. Yeah, I don't know any animal that would sound like that.
Yeah, it's a very weird sound. There's a lot of weird sounds out there that come from Bigfoot.
What that?
What?
Where was that recorded?
I want to say Ohio.
Oh yeah, you know we've got a lot of weird. I had no idea how paranormal Ohio is. I just learned about that recently. There's a lot of weird stuff here.
Yeah, there is. I've been to a couple places in Ohio. Ohio State Reformatory. I'm sure. Are you familiar with that? I've been there one time. I didn't get to investigate it, but I've been there. There's Bel Air, Ohio. I've been to Bel Air, Ohio.
Okay, what's in Bel Air?
There's a demon house in Bel Air.
The big one that I'm actually really close to that I want to go do is the infirmary in Lancaster.
Mm-hmm.
That's wild. There's like 100 or up to like 500 bodies out in the back, and they buried them vertically so they could fit more.
Yeah.
That's wild.
And it's privately owned. Like you can pay the guy and he'll let you do investigations in there.
Yeah, his name's
you can go from like
his name's I've talked to him.
Really?
Yeah, something Adam. His name's Adam.
Oh, is this the one in Fairfield?
That's interesting.
Yeah, Fairfield.
Yeah.
Oh wait, is that the dude that was supposed to come on the pod?
Yeah, we were supposed to have him on.
He'd be interesting to get.
Absolutely. We should try to set something up there.
Yeah, he owns 2 locations. He owns the infirmary and he owns I can't remember the other place. He owns another place too. He owns 2 places.
Man, that's pretty cool that he bought those places, kept them as is.
Oh yeah, the informer
You know, 'cause
he got for pretty cheap. He said he goes
really,
live on TikTok all the time. His name's Adam.
really,
Uh-huh.
That's pretty neat.
That
Yeah,
is really neat.
there's the one that can't find a lot of information on it. It's like Beck Bluff Road. Have you heard of that?
No.
In the same area. Um, is like an old miser lived out there that would spend his days walking around the woods reading his Bible, and then he, kind of offed himself one day. He's buried up there in the bluff, and they say if you drive down, if you main street at a certain time, if you look in your rearview mirror, you'll see him in the back seat. And say, but don't see him, then he'll appear in the passenger seat, and he'll be there until you get to the intersection, and then he'll disappear. And I found out about it because someone had just moved out there, was on that road, and they had a really weird experience, and they started doing research, and they found that story. I mean, I don't think that was the experience they had, but some weird enough that they decided they wanted to do Googling and see what the history of the place was. So, yeah, I want to check that out.
That reminds me of the urban legend around here, Luke, about the hitchhiker. There's on Route 40, supposedly there's a hitchhiker that if you pick them up, by the time that you get to their location, their destination, they're not in the car no more.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
There's like a few different variations of that story.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, cause I've heard like one's like a little girl, or I don't know if she's a little girl or just a girl, and then she asks for a ride home, and then you take her home, and you find out like that she died in a car accident. And, I guess every year, like she hitched and tries to get a ride back to her home.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's that. There's so many variations of stories. There's got to be something to it,
Right. Yeah. That's my thing. It's like there's so many stories out there, and yeah, we make up stories to entertain. That's just what the human species does, right, throughout the ages. But it's like, where did they come from? Where did they stem from? Is there any truth behind them?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, I'm fascinated. Like skinwalkers, wendigos, things like that.
Uh-huh.
And if you talk to, I won't say all Native Americans, but I know that I've talked to some, or have friends that have talked to some, that if you get onto that subject, they're very, very adamant that it's real. I mean, it's not. They
Mm-hmm.
swear by it. It's a real thing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yep.
that's just what I believe them. I mean, they believe it enough that I believe it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep. Even
A
the
friend of
aliens and stuff are there in their beliefs as well.
Oh yeah, yeah. Aliens. Everything's so crazy in the world right now. Aliens probably are here. There's people talking about it. We're so distracted with all this crazy shit. But my buddy that came home 5 times that one night that stayed with me, he had an experience. He grew up in the Southwest of New Mexico, and that's like skinwalker territory. And he said his mom was driving. He was young, and he was in the car with his mom and I think his brother. And he said that there was a skinwalker running alongside the car in the desert. And he swears, and I've heard the story from so many times. He said, they were driving about 70, and the thing was going every bit as fast as the car. And he Like, Mom, do you see that? And she's like, what? He's like, never mind. Just do not stop. Just keep going. Don't stop until we need gas.
Oh, jeez.
But yeah, stuff like that. Yeah. Oh, the desert. The desert is a real weird place. I've spent some time out there, and I can easily how there could be a lot of different energies out there that could be pretty wild to experience.
Yeah. Yeah. As we're sitting here talking about these things, the more I'm starting to think this stuff's drawn to you, dude. I truly believe. I feel that. I feel it.
Yeah. It's. I mean, there's something to it. I have no doubt. Um, it's silly to think that there's not stuff.
Mhm.
It not only is it silly, it's kind of it's closed minded for one thing. Um, but who are we to think that it's all about us?
Right.
That the entire universe, we're the only living things. No, there's no way.
Yeah.
There's no way.
I just seen a video the other day. I don't know how true it is, but apparently we don't know how eels reproduce.
Really?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
That's crazy.
Isn't it though? There's so much out there that to think that we found it all is absurd.
Well, we're still discovering new species. They just discovered I think it was a new species of newt. I want to say Japan like a week ago. We're still finding, which makes sense because with evolution, there's going to be new species emerge, right?
Mm-hmm.
There should always be new species emerging with evolution.
Yeah.
So, that of course, well, by definition, those things I guess are kind of cryptids because a cryptid is just something that hasn't been proven. The existence of it hasn't been proven, right?
Right.
So,
Yeah.
Bigfoot's watches that. I think they're just smart enough to be savvy that they're not going to be seen if they don't want to be seen.
Yeah.
I believe that. Yeah, I believe that.
I see that in cats that live in the country, outdoor cats. They're not going to be seen if they don't want to be seen. Some creatures have that skill that they know how to radar.
Yep. Well, I know that we're coming up on our time. Luke, did you have any other questions for Jacob?
No, thank you for coming on. Thanks for talking with us about all your encounters and stuff.
Yeah, thank you. It's been a lot of fun. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Anytime, man. But yeah. Is there any other stories or anything that you wanna add before we hop off here?
Well, there will be. I'll keep you posted. I'm planning a trip out to Lancaster to check out some of those places. I might go with like maybe one friend out in the middle of the night. So I'll let you know how that goes. Hopefully,
Awesome.
I'll come back with that.
Yeah, absolutely. We'd love to hear about it.
Awesome.
Yes.
Well, again, thank you so much for coming on the podcast, and you're welcome back on anytime.
I'd love to come back. Thank you.
You're welcome. I'll talk to you later, Jacob.
I think I just lost the sound. But thanks for having me. I'm gonna jump off here, and I'll be in touch with you guys.
Awesome.
All right. Sounds later, Jacob.
Goodbye.
Awesome. He had a couple cool stories few ghost stories. I enjoyed that episode.
Yeah. He was really cool to talk to. Absolutely. I'm curious to hear more from him whenever he comes back from his trips.
Yeah.
Sam Squatch.
I am too.
Sam Squatch. I thought that was like a new form of Sasquatch because we got the Bat Squatch and then we got the Wood Booger and everything else. So I was like, oh, Sam Squatch. What is that? Did you have anything else that you wanted to add before we wrap this episode up?
If you already haven't already, go follow us on TikTok, YouTube, Facebook. And we have a hotline you can call if you have any stories you'd like to tell. Dustin, do you have that phone number offhand?
No, I don't, because I'm an ill-prepared podcaster. Ladies and gentlemen, I've been doing this for over a year, and I still have no idea what's going on.
I realized that because I thought we were going to start using the old intro.
Oh, yeah, I forgot to upload it.
I was like, this isn't the intro that we were going to use.
Well, I don't even have video with the new audio because remember we shortened the first one a little bit. Yeah, so I have to go back. I have to go do all that. But the number, I have it, guys. I have the number for the hotline. It is 412-533-3483. So if you have a story, please call in. We probably won't answer. Okay, I'm just going to be honest with you. It's an answering machine. So you are going to need to be in a quiet place to be, to record your story, and
yes,
we will review it and hopefully, put it up on the podcast for everybody to check out.
Yeah.
But I have a would you rather. Do you want it?
Let's do it.
Okay. All right. Hold on. We gotta cue the creepy music. Okay. Would you rather spend one night in a house with ghosts can touch and talk to you? You can't see them. Or spend one night in a house with every spirit clearly. You can't hear or acknowledge you at all. Oh, but they can't hear or acknowledge you at all.
You can't. The second one kind of cut out. I think he said you can see him clearly, right?
Right, but they can't hear you or acknowledge you.
Okay, so you can see them, but they can't acknowledge or hear you. But in the first one, you cannot see them, but you can hear them and they can touch you.
Right.
Oh, so do they acknowledge you? They don't acknowledge you in the first one or the second one,
right? In the
right?
first one? No, the second
or
one.
Did they acknowledge you?
No, they can't acknowledge you in the
acknowledge
second one. No.
First
one.
That one.
What, the second one?
Yeah, because I don't know. I like to communicate with them though, so I might have to go with the first one. I mean,
see,
really, how often do you go to an investigation and you can hear something but you don't see them? So
I mean, I feel like there's definitely some downsides to each one, right? Second one,
yes,
it would just be like living in a house with a bunch of random people that don't talk to you and you can't talk to them, right?
Yes.
The second one, right? The first one,
yes,
it would be like you're living alone, but you would be hearing voices. They would be able to touch you. Like, I feel like there would be some things that come along with that would be like problemsome. You know what I mean? Because they would be like knowing that they have contact to the living world. So now they're going to be bugging you. Hey, can you do this? Can you do that?
And
can you go?
Shut it off.
And you can't shut it off.
I probably still have to say the first one. The first one, because I couldn't imagine just looking around and seeing a whole bunch of people that's not there. That would be creepy.
Yeah, that would be creepy, especially if they can't acknowledge you. That would be like you're the ghost.
Right. Maybe you are the ghost.
I'm the ghost. I'm
Maybe
the ghost,
you're
guys.
to them.
I'm the ghost. I thought that was on this side. It's on this side. Speaking of ghost, if you guys like my t-shirt, you guys can go get it on our website, exploringtheunknownpod.com. On the back, it says Ghost Hunter. No, here, I'll have to turn around some so you can kind of see it. Yeah, there it is. Something like that. I don't have a lot of room here. Like the bed is literally like right here. So moving isn't the easiest. But yeah, thank you guys for all listening. Thank you all for listening. And do you have anything else?
No.
Nope. Okay. Until next time, keep exploring the unknown.